Welcome to the Mind Shift Movement Podcast, hosted by Alan Johnson. On this podcast, Alan will be sharing with you empowering, effective, and actionable knowledge within the fitness and mindset space to help you, the listener, become the very best version of you physically, mentally, and emotionally. Now, get ready to dive into today's episode.
So, on this Facebook Live and podcast, hence why I've got a speaker and microphone in my face, I'm going to be speaking to you about struggles and problems with people and their body weight and issues with the scales. If you've ever had an issue with the scale, let me know. Let me know how it's potentially affected you in the past or the present, because I know it does affect a lot of people. And this would be a very powerful message for those who aren't happy with their current body weight as well, okay? So I've had some really interesting conversations over the last week, and I would say that every week I have at least one conversation with someone that's going through some struggles with their body weight, because I know it can be a massive issue. So firstly, I want to ask you, how often are you currently weighing yourself, if at all? Okay, feel free to join in if you want to, and leave your comments along the way. So, how often are you weighing yourself? Monthly, maybe weekly, maybe even daily, and some people maybe even multiple times a day as well. People that I've spoken to in the past. And when you do weigh yourself, does that number on the scale bother you? Like, how does that number actually make you feel about yourself? And if it does bother you, then do you understand why it's currently bothering you as well? So now I've many people, and I would say most of my clients to begin with have some kind of issue with the scales and their body weight, okay? So if you feel like that you're the only person that struggles with the scales and your body weight, you're definitely not, guys, okay? And I recently had a conversation with a lady recently, and I literally asked them, how does it actually feel when they weigh themselves at the number and they see that number on the scales? And their response was, they feel awful. So my next response was like, okay, well, how comes you're weighing yourself so often if it makes you feel a certain way and it's not making you feel good about yourself, okay? And a lot of it is down to habits and programming and behavior, okay? So a lot of people are weighing themselves. If they're doing it like daily, they're just in the habit now of like maybe waking up in the morning, weighing themselves straight away, okay? And for people that don't have, like, it doesn't negatively affect them weighing their body weight, then, like, fair play to them. If they want to do that, happy days. But what I really want to help people with is those that can't kind of cope with weighing themselves, if you know what I mean, and they are struggling. So I know a lot of people do. So the individual I was actually speaking to the other day, she's pretty slim anyways, okay? And I'll share a little bit more later on this live and this podcast about, those that are on the slimmer side and like controlling their weight and their mindset around the body weight as well. So the weight of our body can actually be detrimental to so many people's mental health. I've spoken to people that have literally had struggles with the scales for years, okay? They might be in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and they're still having issues with the scales and their body weight. Now, something I want to find out from those I speak to who have some kind of type of issue, or any new client that starts with me, is what's the real goal? They're focused on their body weight and what the scales is saying, but what is the actual goal? Now, I want to give you like a couple of examples of what I usually share with my clients, okay, to try and just help them get their head around the weight and the scales, okay. So first of all, like number one, right? I keep it simple. So you've got like a female that weighs around 70 kilo, so around 11 stone in body weight, right? Just to keep things really, really simple. So the first thing I will share is, right, so I say to the person, what if you weighed 65 kilo? So they lost 5 kilos in body weight, and that's their goal weight that they say that they want to achieve. And the thing is, though, they lose 5 kilos, but just say that they looked and felt exactly the same. Would they be happy? And every single time, guys, this person says no. Okay, even though they've lost the 5 kilo, they've got down to their goal weight, what they wanted to achieve. They looked and felt the same. Were they happy? Always say no. And let me know if you would be happy if you lost the weight and looked exactly the same and felt exactly the same. Would this make you feel any happier? Let me know, guys. And if you're listening to this on the podcast and you want to engage as well, feel free to either DM me on any of my social media platforms or hit me up at ajfitmindcoaching.co.uk, which is my website. And there's an option on the site. Go to contact us, and then you can message me to engage that way as well. So the second thing that I'll say to a client that struggles with their weight is, so what if they increased their body weight? Okay, so going back to the 70 kg example, so 11 stones of body weight. What if you actually increase your weight, right? But you had a slimmer tummy, so more toned around your tummy area. You felt healthier, and you had more energy. So generally, you just feel maybe more confident, more happier, more energized. But your weight actually increased. So maybe your weight went to 73 kilo, 74 kilo. Would they care what the scales said? Right? And like I say, again, same as the first option that I shared, 99% of the time, 100% of the time, people will say no. They don't care about what the scale said because they've achieved what their actual goal was, which was to look a bit slimmer, feel better, feel more energy, have more confidence. So the scales actually now says that they weigh more, okay, and they don't care about that number anymore, right? So the real goal wasn't decreasing their body weight or numbers on the scale. Their real goal was to look and feel better, okay? So we can understand that body weight is a good measure for, say, something like a newborn baby, right? So I'm sure some of you who are listening to this have had a baby before. You've become a parent, and I'm sure that your baby was weighed, so you know how much a baby weighs, right? And, you know, with a newborn baby, they don't really need to be weighing or measuring the baby's body fat or their lean muscle mass. They just kind of want to get an average scale of what the baby weighs, okay? Because then they can compare it to other babies that have been healthy at that particular weight. So for a newborn baby, that's probably pretty useful as a basic measure to see whether the baby is a healthy weight or not, right? I'm sure you can understand that. Or possibly like an athlete, like a jockey, okay? So they're involved with horse racing, and they need to make sure that their body weight is light enough to be on their horse and potentially go and win the race, right? Because if they are weighing too much, The horse might not be able to cope as well with their body weight. So again, for performance reasons, the weight would probably be pretty handy if you're a jockey. If you're not a jockey, then you're going to be okay. Another example would be like a boxer preparing for a fight. So there's different weight classes in boxing. So again, it's to keep the fights reasonably fair. So they have weight classes, right? Because you don't want to put together like a 10-stone man with like an 18-stone man, because that probably wouldn't be very fair, right? I'm sure you would agree with this. So in those cases, it probably would be a good idea to, look at the weight and use weight as a measure. But for you, a normal everyday person who wants to simply look and feel a bit better, it can be a little bit of a head mess up for them. Okay, and if you're relating to this, guys, just feel free to share this with your friends and family, because it'll probably be a good thing for them to hear that other people experience this as well, not just them. Okay, because sometimes when we're going through some challenges, it can feel like we're the only ones that are going through those challenges. So feel free to share this, whether you're listening to on the Facebook Live or the podcast. Share it with your friends and family. Okay, so the thing with what I mentioned earlier, so with the conversation I had this week with this person who's pretty slim anyway, right? They've been troubled for many, many years with their weight, okay? And with your slimmer kind of build person, with the correct training and nutrition, they might actually gain, well, hopefully, they're going to gain some lean muscle mass, right? So their body will actually start working more efficiently for them, i.e. burning some extra calories each day, right? Because they've gained the extra lean muscle, they're going to look more toned, and their body's going to be working smarter and more effectively for them by burning more calories, right? So for your slimmer build people, they might be like the option 2 that I shared earlier, and they might actually gain a little bit of weight, right? But their body's actually going to be working better for them. So that's ideal. Body weight can be useful with those that are on the larger side. Okay, so I've just had a guy that is just over 25 stone start with me. He's a new client and he literally wants to change his entire life around, and I'm really, really excited to be helping him. And it's really, really exciting. So for the body weight with this instance, it's going to be a pretty good measure, because we know that he's going to be losing weight along his journey, right? So it's going to be an extra measure we can use to track his progress along the journey, right? But like I say, the slimmer kind of built people that have got the issue with the scales, it's going to be like an ongoing issue that might actually last forever if maybe they don't look at it in a different way, maybe if they don't hear this kind of content around it. So, don't get caught up too much with the scales. Focus on what your actual goal is. So thinking about, how do you want to feel and what kind of look do you want to go after, right? So the main focus really should be how people feel, how they want to look, and like the measurements, okay? So just some simple measurements, maybe chest, hips, waist, thighs, arms, calves, whatever else you want to measure, right? So if you want some extra help overcoming this potential challenge, get in touch with me. You can DM me on any of the social media platforms, message me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever you want, and we can arrange a free call together, discuss what you're currently going through, and we can work out some better plans to help you move forwards and overcome this obstacle within your life. As well as this, you can also go check out, if you haven't already, my podcast, the Mind Shift Movement podcast. Subscribe to it, rate it, review it, and that will really, really help to support the show and basically reach more people. And we've also got a growing Facebook group that's around the podcast as well. So this is the Mindshift Movement podcast community. Again, it's a free community. You can join it. There's extra content going into the group every single day. We're nearly at around 500 members now. So if you want to use that opportunity and join the group, same thing again, just DM me and I'll be more than happy to add you in. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions whatsoever around this, please get in contact. Don't keep suffering alone, and I'll be more than happy to help you. Thanks very much, and I'll catch you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Mindshift Movement Podcast. If you'd like to support the show, please subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or Google Play. Share this episode with someone you feel would benefit from the content. And please leave a 5-star review wherever you download your podcasts. You can also contact Alan at ajfitmindcoaching@gmail.com or on Facebook at AJ Fitness and Mindset Coaching and on Instagram at Alan_Johnson_coaching. We'll catch you on the next episode.